We're joined today by actress Katee Sackhoff. You might know her as Bo-Katan from The Mandalorian. She was also in Battlestar Galactica and Longmire. Right now we're talking about her new podcast, The Sackhoff Show. Katee, how you doing today?
I'm good. Good morning.
It's great to be speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, I know you are very busy. You've managed to squeeze in a podcast now to your career here, The Sackhoff Show. Can you tell the listeners a bit about the show?
Oh, my gosh, for sure. You know, I think that this is sort of just a natural progression to the things that have been going on lately. And I found myself, having really, really fun time with my with my YouTube channel during COVID with my husband. And after COVID and I sort of went back to work, I realized that wasn't going to keep going because it was too labor intensive. But what I enjoyed the most out of it was the conversations I was having with people. So I wanted to figure out a way to do that. And then at the same time, I realized I was having these wonderful conversations with my friends that are in the industry and outside of the industry. And they were these beautiful, authentic conversations about so many different things about life. And nobody got to see this side of these people, you know. For example, Tricia Helfer. You know, we all picture Tricia a very certain way. But I, as one of her best friends, see her a very, very different way. And so I wanted to have a conversation with someone, like a fly on the wall, over coffee, that fans could really be surprised by. And that's sort of how it evolved.
Excellent. And there are new episodes every Tuesday. You can find them on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I know you've worked with so many different people over your career. I imagine your Rolodex is probably filled with all sorts of fun upcoming guests.
It truly is. You know, I've sort of gone through not only my Rolodex of the people that I can just call directly, but of the people that I've met maybe once or twice that I have just, am huge fans of, and I'm reaching out to them. I'm sliding into their DMs. So I've got some really wonderful guests coming up. Some of my closest friends, but also some people that I just admire that I really want to talk to. And I'm really excited. You know, new episodes, like you said, come out every Tuesday. And, this Tuesday we have a big surprise for people that have been fans of the show for a long time. And that is that we're coming back to video. You know, we removed the video component for a long time because my family and I moved, so I was no longer in Los Angeles, and it just got really hard to lug my equipment around with me. And so we have found a way to bring the video back, and I think that our audience that enjoys to watch the show is going to be really excited, but it's not going to change for the people that just love to listen. Yeah,
it's definitely a different vibe for when people are talking about, stuff they're working on or projects. It's much different than, as you mentioned, when they're talking maybe to a friend and you're able to get different stories and probably different people that maybe aren't doing interviews as much. So that's great for the fans to kind of get this insight.
It's really true. I find that a lot of my friends that don't do interviews, the first thing they say to me is, I don't do podcasts. And I say, I know. I don't like to do them either. Because you never quite know, you have so little control of the conversation. And we're so used to not wanting to say something anymore. We're used to, as public figures, being very guarded. Sure. And so, what I've created with my show is just a very relaxed conversation where, my goal is not to have a gotcha moment with my friends. My goal is just to have a really wonderful conversation. And we've talked about some really crazy stuff. So I'm excited for people to see it.
And again, the Sackhoff Show, new episodes every Tuesday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube. And Katee, you've done so much in your career, and we've got Battlestar Galactica and Longmire. You've been part of the Star Wars franchise, Halloween franchise. I mean, these are some of the most passionate fan bases out there. You must be getting bombarded at these comic conventions.
You know what? From your mouth to God's ears. I consider my fan base to be very, very, very instrumental in the success that I've experienced over the years. And I love going to conventions. It's one of the things that I enjoy the most about my career these days, to be honest, is that the interaction with those people at the cons it truly fills me with so much joy and so much fun, and I just love talking to them. So I'm excited. I have my first one. I took about 4 months off because my son was born, and my first one back is in my hometown of Portland, Oregon. So I'm going to go do that one in like a week and a half on the 6th, I think it is, of September, something like that. And I'm just excited to be back and going to conventions as well.
Awesome. And I wanted to ask you about your work on The Mandalorian and the character of Bo-Katan. You started out just as the voice and then eventually wound up live action. I imagine you didn't think it would be quite as big as it turned out to be, though.
Oh, God, no, of course not. I took the animated Bo-Katan character thinking that she would exist for one episode, So for her to go from that, 15 years ago to what she is now is it's just truly, there you go. For a person that's never speechless, speechless. There really aren't words to describe how appreciative and how honored I am to be able to play this character for so long. And I love her. I think that the story's not done, and I can't wait to see what she's got in store.
Yeah, we have read that there may be a Mandalorian film in the works. Do you know anything about that, or could you be maybe involved with that at all?
Well, we do know that the Mandalorian and Grogu is coming out. So, that is common knowledge. Dave and John have talked about it immensely. And beyond that, we as actors in the Star Wars universe have learned to say as little as possible. I don't want to take the surprises away from the fans. I am a fan of Star Wars, and for me, having those moments, especially in today's world with all of the social media, and it's really wonderful when you can have those surprise moments in something that you enjoy so much. So I would never want to ruin that for the fans.
Well, is there anything maybe coming up for you acting-wise that we should be watching out for? I know you usually have a few different projects in the works at all times, it seems.
Oh, my gosh, it's so true. So right now I have the animated Watchmen is out right now on digital. It comes out tomorrow on Blu-ray and 4K. Now, this is an interpretation of the original Watchmen book, which I'm sure a lot of people are fans of, and this is animated. I play Silk Spectre, which Malin Ackerman played in the live-action movie a few years ago now, but it is a really, really wonderful cast, and the reception of this animated film is just wonderful. So I would really suggest that people go look at that. And then I have a movie coming out with Josh Hartnett called Fight or Flight that's coming out hopefully this year, so we'll see.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like you are not afraid to do so many different types of roles. Is there something you look for when you accept a role? Is it just the people you're working with, or maybe the location, or what goes into that?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's all of those things. It could be one of those criteria. It could be multiple. But I think it's, for me, it's, have I played this character before? Have I worked with this person before? Have I gone to this place before? All of those things have a sway in whether or not I take something. And so I just sort of weigh all of those, and there's a lot that I still want to do. I've been doing this for over 25 years now, and I keep my mind open to a lot of different experiences, like the Watchmen, like the podcast, things like that, where I think people are realizing and learning that there are so many different avenues to take in this industry that make you a better performer just in general. And, life experience is I'm a collector of life experiences, and that's what makes me a better actor. So I think that hopefully the best is yet to come. So we'll see.
Wonderful. Katee, I'm glad to be speaking with you. I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm excited for the podcast and, all the other stuff you've got going on. It's been great. Again, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, gosh, my pleasure. And thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And again, that was Katee Sackhoff. Her new podcast, The Sackhoff Show, is available. New episodes every Tuesday on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube.